Ngoba kwaliphosa nasekhathe ejibhini. Washo ukuthi nawo sofile. Ngoba khona oshiwo ukuthi ngitakumelela kule ndlela.
Ubabe labangaka.
Nasifika la. Lasathi sishaya incingo. Ngoba khona ufuna ukushaya athathe incingo tethu. So lami incingo la sarala.
Uthi asasikhutha maphosa traffic. Maphosa traffic mami sikhumbi ila ishini ithome ngicamanga. Masimisa maphosa aqhamuka sabridge lesibhamula atraffic. Abethathini la khathi emotweni.
Ukuthi nimana nikhombisa ukuthi niyakhona njengemaphoyisa njengebantu labasiphethe njengebantu lesifuna kibolisito ningabi nina tinyamatane kithi yibani bantu sizokhona kutakini sicela lisito nisito namuhla nje siyowesabe emaphoyisa bantu bana labadelwe nyalo labana bo 2 years umnyaka banesaba why banesaba niyabadubula
senifikileke nakhona la tikhalo siyadiva tanyase tayitolo tikhona sekunale tisha ke no letifika nato lesithi ke baphathi bami sithi thatha njalo tinjalo sithi songe sithi se regional headquarters yethu kutase ke mhlambe bayasathisa ukuthi ke bahamba njani kuto leto tikhalo letinjalo kungaba ngiloko
kalomseshi walelicala lesibuyabuza
kungaba ngiloko lesingaphendula
station commander
Siyambopha licala siyalifuna.
No, station commander.
Atikho la letincingo tisearchini.
Yahamba nini ngale.
Nomnyaka lophelile sisearchini.
Okay,
khona uyakhona ukusebenza ngasese lo.
okay, singathola nini ke bekhasa letincingo? Before the end of the week.
The protesters were also blocking the Malkans and Luyengo Road. Reporting for Channel Yemaswati, I am Nondobeko Tabeze with Nhlanhla Twala at Malkans.
Four individuals implicated in the bombing of a Standard Bank ATM this past week have appeared before the Magistrates Court, in which they face 17 charges, which include malicious destruction of property as well as kidnapping and robbery. We have a report.
4 individuals implicated in the bombing of a Standard Bank ATM in Babane over the past week have today appeared before Magistrate Xolile Nxumalo, where they were slapped with 17 counts. The suspects, Stelo Msibi, who is 26 years old, Mzwandile Lukele, who is 33 years old, and Gwen Mfanagazane Mafuso, who is only 19 years old, all from Shakastrad in the Republic of South Africa, along with Lindane Zita, who is a 28-year-old Iswati of the Ngaba area, are charged with the offence of malicious injury to property, contravening Section 8, Subsection 1 of the Explosives Act, kidnapping and robbery, contravening Section 14, Subsection 2C of the Immigrations Act, and contravening Section 27, Subsection I of the Central Bank of Eswatini Order 1974, amongst other charges. The 4 suspects were then remanded back to custody, and they are set to appear back in court on the 2nd of September 2022. For Channel Yemaswati News, I am Tina Madonsela, Babane.
The Malkin Station Commander today was commended for his efforts to ensure that things did not escalate out of hands as public transport operators marched to deliver a petition to the Malkins police station this afternoon. We have a report.
During the demonstration to present a petition to the Malkans police by the public transport operators, The police and army practiced a lot of restraints thanks to the astute leadership of the station commander, Superintendent Begani Khumalo. The debacle started in the morning at the police station, where there were serious disagreements over the timeline for the response to their grievances. The demand to the commander was that an officer referred to as Ngola must be transferred. They also made a claim on confiscated cell phones taken from the workers after the death of their colleague, who they claimed was killed by Ngola. Although tempers were high, the public transport workers presented their verbal petition with respect. Superintendent Khumalo pleaded with the workers that some of their grievances were beyond his command, but rested with the regional headquarters in Manzini. As the battle continued, Khumalo updated that the confiscated cell phones would be released as soon as an officer who was off sick returned to work. Superintendent also mediated between the transport workers and the army personnel who were on standby to clean the place. This report was compiled by Channel Yemaswati news editor.
The International Labour Organization is in the kingdom for 3 days to meet with different bodies to discuss matters of labour within the country. Today they were meeting with the Ministry of Labour at the Royal Villas in ESWATINI. We have a report.
The International Labour Organization, the ILO, is in the Kingdom of Eswatini to meet with parties responsible for labour and all concerns within, with the ILO spending 3 days in the kingdom to engage in such meetings. The ILO met today with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to discuss various labour concerns, most notably that of youth unemployment, which is a critical issue both locally and on the global stage. Director of ILO, Dr. John Musabeana, outlined labour issues facing the kingdom as well as its workers.
Related to this is therefore the constitutional obligations that flow from it. International labour standards, as you heard the Commissioner informing us that there are these conventions that have been abrogated and that have been denounced. What that means is that therefore the national legislation needs to be brought into conformity with these developments. We look forward to Eswatini joining other member states of the sub-region, namely Namibia, South Africa, which have already ratified the newest convention of the ILO, which is on eliminating violence and harassment, which is a particularly important instrument in the context of the global fight for gender equality in the world of work. And We have come, therefore, with the International Labour Standards Specialist to assist the country to meet her obligations related to the international commitments that you have made on the conventions and recommendations, particularly the conventions that you have ratified. I hope I've tried to give an update on all the key areas of work that we are engaged in, that we are now coming to review to ensure that we can move together, not just with the government, but we also look forward tomorrow to meeting the employers and the workers, and then finally meeting our UN family. Thank you very much, PS. I hope I've...
Also present at this meeting were Ministry of Labour and Social Security Principal Secretary Mr. Makosini Mdawe, as well as several officials concerned with labour and hiring workers in the kingdom. For Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Gina Madonsela with Kimberly Mafuso and Temalangeni Dlamini, Royal Fellas.
The presence of a crocodile in a communal dam has gripped an entire community as fear, as they not only fear for the livelihood of their livestock, but also their own well-being. We have a report.
The residents of Malinza at Lupugu has voiced out their frustration about a crocodile which is said to be in the dam of Malinza for a very long time. According to Mr. Kamete, who spoke on behalf of the Malinza residents, he stated that they are asking for help on how they can catch this dangerous animal.
Sinalokwesaba nje ukuthi inkosi yami ungathi kuphela abantu abethu lapha asisathi ukuthi sitawubika ngoba betilwane sesibabikele sabona ababeka lo modlo nje omisho kuphana lesilwane nani sulapha sibani sithi kinyanza leyo nkosi yami bothalethe ngoba kukaMalinza abamane basendele lisu bamane nje basibambele lesilwane siyasesaba thina labanye lesilwane leso ngoba sesivile tingoti takhona.
Nike lasibona inene lesilwane?
Sike sasibona hayi kanye sisi nyalo nje ukuqala kushisa sihlala silamandini. Nabe nje banayo indlela yokuthi basibambele bangene lamandini.
Reporting for Channel Yemaswati, I am Nondobeko Tsabeze with Nohladla Twala at Malinza.
Men's organization Gwaka and Votsa today hosted a workshop with relevant parties as well as 3 government ministries to unpack the Computer and Cybercrime Act of 2022. We have a report.
With statistics indicating that 80% of people within the kingdom now have access to advanced technology, men's organization Gwaka and Votsa found it pertinent to meet with the relevant parties as well as 3 government ministries to unpack the Computer Crime and Cybercrime Act of 2022, so as to properly sensitize the nation on how to effectively and safely utilize elements of advanced technology.
In the Ministry of Education and Training, phindze futhi na Ministry of Information and Communication and Technology, sitokhulumisana ikabandi ngendzaba ye Computer Crime and Cybercrime Act, umthetho lo phasiswe nga 2022 nyalo ngaMarch kulo mnyaka lesikiwe. Shotse siyinhlangano lesikwendile ukuthi tindzaba tema digital rights sike sahlala phasi satibuta ukuthi ema digital rights abese afika njani ke phana ukuthi indzaba tema human rights even la kangwane. Ngiko ke sibe sesithatha lo msebenzi sesibese senda lesikubita ngokuthi i-systematic review. I-systematic review sihlalele phasi sizama ukubuka ukuthi ngabe ngimaphi lama implications kumalungelo ebantfu laphila lesiphila nawo evele. Siyathi ama statistics lakhona nyanga khuluma ngokuthi over 80% of emaswati sekakhona laphana kubo internet. Sekakhona na ukuthi access information lapho kule space leso. Ngiko ke kuyinto lemcobo ukuthi si understand ukuthi lo mthetho utasibambisa njani ensuring ukuthi lama digital rights kule space leso ayaqhubeka futhi aya safeguardwa as a nation. Ngiko sihlanganyele nalama stakeholders lesinawo ukuze futhi siphume ngokuthi nasisuka thina la sesiyaphuma sesenda umkhankaso ukuthi sesifundzisa emaswati ngokuthi lo mthetho usho naphi nanaphi nanaphi ngoba siyakubona kuyinto lemcoka kakhulu ukuthi eMaswati awadi umthetho lo bangamele ikakhulu nasesikhuluma ngetindzaba ku internet usage ngoba nyalo sesiphila esikhathini lesibitwa ngokuthi seyi-4th industrial revolution sekunetindzaba tabo cyberbullying letibuya phindze futhi kutindzaba tama human rights ngiko lesikwenda konje namhla lana sitawuphindze futhi sibe nalomunye umhlangano lapho khona sitawubita nema-civil society organizations nawo phindze futhi nawo media houses siwapuyise sihlale nawo phasi khona sitawusebenzisana sizachubeka sisafundzisa live leMaswati.
For Channel Yemaswati News, I am Tina Madonsela with Temalangeni Dlamini, Royal Villas, Ezulwini.
Hope Restoration Church founder, Pastor Elijah Fire, has today said he's ready to apologize for allegations he leveled against fellow pastor, Justice Dlamini. He said this while giving his testimony in the High Court of Eswatini.
Prophet Musim Kachwan, properly known by his spiritual name, Prophet Elijah Fire of Hope Restoration Church, today has presented his evidence before the court in the matter in which Apostle Justice Dlamini sued him for defamation of character and wants compensation of 10 million emanangeni, which Mkachwa tells the court that it was a lot of money. The prophet further mentioned that he was ready to apologize to the apostle, going as far as to ask the National Commissioner of Police, William Tinsibala Dlamini, to intervene so that the matter could be settled out of court. The prophet went on to state before the court that he does not know who leaked his audio, as he only recorded it for future references. For Channel Yemaswati News, I am Tina Madonsela with Temalangeni Dlamini, High Court of Eswatini.
Premier League giants Bobane Highlanders have today unveiled 4 players of which they expect to utilize in their CAF Champions League campaign this year.
In cooperation with African partner authorities and organizations, the German government has been supporting the implementation of the MAB program in Southern Africa for many years, in particular through the German Federal Agency for Nature Conservation and the German Commission for UNESCO. So today, the Ministry of Education.
Bobane Highlanders director Ali Khomongo today unveiled 4 players as part of his preparations for the team in the CAF Confederations Cup that will be played. Bobane Highlanders director Ali Khomongo has unveiled 4 players that will be part of the team which will be playing in the CAF Confederations Cup in the 2022-2023 season. Khomongo stated that as a team they can't stay as they have lost their prolific striker Sabelo Nzinisa to Green Mamba. Khomongo unveiled 4 of his players, whom 3 are internationals and 1 is a local player from Moneni Pirates. He stated that as a team they are working very hard to ensure that they give tough time to Royal AM, led by well-known businesswoman Mam Kise.
Today we are taking this opportunity because my days are limited due to the preparation of CAF. We are preparing for CAF because whether some people like it or not, we are going to compete for CAF. So we want to show you the players because after they take the players from us, we couldn't hold our arms and say that manna will come from heaven. We must get manna from heaven.
The players that were unveiled by Khomongo are former Vovovo defender Aristo Tamuzi, Moneni Pirates Mbendulo Tomo, returnee Joseph Glekata, and Lesotho international Tsoarelo Bereng. I'm Kimbal Mavuso for Channel Yemaswati News in Babane.
And with that, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. But before we close off our bulletin, here's a recap of our top stories making headlines. 4 individuals implicated in the bombing of a Standard Bank ATM this past week have appeared before the Magistrates Court, where they face 17 charges. Public transport operators amassed in Malkins today as they marched to protest the death of one of their colleagues. Hope Restoration Church founder, Pastor Elijah Fire, has today said he's ready to apologize for allegations he leveled against fellow pastor Justice Dlamini. He said this while giving his testimony in the High Court of Eswatini. Well, that was a recap of what top stories making headlines. We do hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening and the programs that are coming up next. Good night.